Welcome to the Filmistines, the podcast where we discuss all things movies. Join us as we dive deep into the latest releases, revisit classic films, and explore the art of cinema. Whether you're a film fanatic or just love a good flick, we've got you covered. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie gems, we'll be breaking down the storytelling, cinematography, and everything in between. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready for some cinematic magic. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/filmistines. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $20 tier grants the ability to request films for future episodes. This is the Filmistines, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience. All around you. Welcome back to another episode of the Filmistines. I am joined today by my level 15 or so. I don't know what the cap of D&D is. Warrior Lucy, who's proficient in all skills, especially fireballs.
Fireballs?
Yeah.
Wow.
I could see you throwing some fireballs.
Probably stones on fire. Yeah.
Stones on fire?
Yeah, I could see that too.
That's even worse than a fireball. I was thinking just a dense ball of fire, but
No.
at the core of the
Yeah.
fireball, there's something hard as shit that's going. If the fire doesn't do it, the rock will, the boulder will.
Exactly.
Well, today we are talking about the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, Honor Among Thieves. Probably one of the surprise hits of the year, I would imagine. I especially because of the cast, in combination with the history of Dungeons and Dragon movies, in combination with sort of kind of a video gamey movie, origin-wise, and just the state of modern blockbusters. I am surprised how good this was.
Yeah. I want to start off by saying I wish we would have seen this at the movie theater.
Think so?
Yeah. I think I would have enjoyed it. I don't know if I could have enjoyed it more than I did, but I think it would have had a different feel to it.
This is a movie theater movie.
This is a movie theater movie.
I feel like those are pretty rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. There's some movies that are like, I could have seen that at home.
Was Avatar, the Avatar 2 Way of Water, a theater movie?
I don't know, because it was pretty long, and if you're not die-hard Avatar fan
and dehydrated,
you need to go either hydrate or go pee when you bought that big ass Coke. Now you gotta go.
I know they sell you a gallon of drink so you can be running back and forth. At least they provide a lot of. I don't know about the girls' bathrooms, but the guys' bathrooms, there's a wall of urinals. There's lots of them.
Really?
It's cool. Yeah.
No, like the main bathroom has quite a few stalls, so that's good. But like the side bathrooms that are within the, in between the screens or whatever, those are pretty small. There's only like 3 or 4 stalls in there. If you really have to go, you gotta go to the main bathroom.
Yeah. Well, this movie wasn't that long. It was 2 hours and some change. Not too bad. I did not really feel it. Annoying.
I think I felt it when we had like 20 minutes left, which is not bad. Unlike Batman, that I felt it before halfway through and just started getting super anxious. But this movie, maybe about 20 minutes left, I started feeling some of the anxiousness of watching a long movie
and not moving.
Yeah, and then I saw it was 20 minutes. It's like, oh, okay, that's not bad. It's almost over. Because how much of that is credits?
Yeah, 10 plus movies like this.
So it was, about 10 minutes left of the movie before. That's not bad at all.
That's not bad. Are you familiar with any of the other Dungeons and Dragons movies?
No.
They're unrelated to this, I would imagine, but
no familiarity with the movies. Very little experience with the game itself. But, I like fantasy in general. So that's where a lot of that appreciation can be found in. Yeah. My love of fantasy.
Of course. And classy fantasy and like well executed is always welcome.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm really shocked on that level with this movie. I'm completely shocked by how highly produced and how thoughtful and sincere this movie is. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
I'm a little hesitant to. I want to say this isn't a mark against anything, but why is it a Dungeons and Dragons movie? You know, that's like such a nebulous thing. So calling something Dungeons and Dragons. There's not a Dungeons and Dragons thing. It's not really. It's just kind of a amorphous way to tell a fantasy story. There's not a lot of touchstones that actually happen in Dungeons and Dragons because every DM and GM makes their own world, you know? So like they might use, I guess, some of the same critters and bad guys and spells and stuff and have, you know, obviously have some of the same mechanics and systems on the back end of while rolling for your life. But it's just a little weird that, I mean, I get why on one level because they have to call it that. I mean, they don't have to do anything, but calling it that for the brand recognition is, you know, the obvious pull, but it's just a little weird.
Well, I felt like they called it that, you know, kind of went in that direction because of the playfulness, you know, to get away with some of this stupid, playful.
That's a good point. That's an excellent point, actually.
You know, it made you feel like you were playing a game. I mean, like I said, I don't have that much experience, but I have played a D&D game with friends, and it went just as stupid as this movie did.
Yeah.
Not you know, stupid in a bad way, but just like a playful silliness way.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Otherwise, if it were a fantasy movie and it went this silly,
if it took itself a little too serious, yeah. Because I mean, we all know that Game of Thrones roots are in D&D, and calling that D&D whatever Game of Thrones would be it would just be a little weird because I mean everyone's experience playing D&D is also different, obviously, because your DMs are psychopaths. They're the psychopaths and that they want to have the most elaborate story ever told to humanity, or they want to kill you. And I prefer the ones that want to kill you because those are, you know, they have a sense, you know, they're playing the game to have fun, you know, not change your mindset on how you approach your everyday living, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like the Nazi D&D or whatever, the totalitarian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. You want to have fun.
I want a super high lethal game. I want the game to if the right decisions and right rolls don't happen, I want the game to run the risk of only lasting like an hour. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Or 30 minutes. You know, it's that kind of thing. I want it to be super high lethal and, you know, just silly. And that's a good point. This movie doesn't capture the high lethal side of it, which D&D doesn't need that to be fun, but it does capture the pure play and wonder and silliness and characters, and it's good. That's a good point. Excellent point. Well said. Thank you. You're welcome.
I mean, it all ties in with the cast. I loved the cast.
Yeah, I was super hesitant of the cast, and they pulled out for me.
They did. They did.
Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez is pretty shit 99% of the time. And she plays pretty much the same character here, but it fits because of just the, you know, the mashup of all the other characters and what you might expect out of a D&D game, where these characters are just like, they truly are the how do people say it? The unlikely like group of heroes. Yes. And that's cool. So she works in this. She works super well in this. But like in Fast and Furious, she's dog shit.
Well, you know where I think of.
Where do you think of her
as? Resident Evil.
She's in Resident Evil?
She's in Resident Evil,
I don't even know that. She's probably fine in Resident Evil. That seems to fit her.
That's where, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's where my first
hilarious.
Encounter is, so.
I did not know that. Yep. Did not know that. Her attitude seems like that would fit. We'll have to go back and look at those.
Okay, yeah. That
makes sense.
That's immediately where it pops in my head.
Yeah, she's in Thor as well, and she's probably at her worst in Thor.
I don't think I've seen Thor. Thor is my least favorite. Just got to throw that out there.
That's fine. Those movies are the weakest movies, but he's like one of the strongest characters. Not physically. Yes, maybe physically, but I think character-wise, I think he really runs the human condition thing really, really neatly because he's insecure.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a lot of the other guys are, I think that's
No,
like a really cool driving factor in him.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I like that the celebrities weren't, your high celebs, like,
yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, they call them A-list actors.
Yeah.
Although these guys are probably all A-list, technically, but they're like secondary A-list or tertiary.
You're kind of like, oh, that's that guy from that one movie.
I appreciate that too.
And I love that.
Yeah, Hugh Grant is pretty. The old guy, the guy who was
Forge.
I think he's pretty famous. But, I mean, still, I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and him are probably the most famous out of these. Michelle Rodriguez might be the most famous, actually. She might be. I don't know.
Because she's not that famous,
She's in, you gotta give her props, though. She's in 3 that I can name, that we just named. Over $1 billion franchises. That's very interesting. Resident Evil, Fast and Furious, and the Marvel
Universe. Yeah,
Thor probably alone is probably worth has made over $1 billion.
I mean, that's true.
Because there's 4 films, right?
But she's not the main girl. She's not like
yeah, of course.
Well, I don't know about Fast and Furious.
She's one of the core, like 4 or 5 guys in Fast and Furious.
Okay. Yeah. I vaguely remember those.
God, I don't remember her in Resident Evil at all.
Yeah.
I have to look into that. And Chris Pine, of course, is, I guess, been made famous by the new Star Trek movies, I think. Those were really big at the time. I don't know if there's been a recent one in the last few years. And he's, of course, the love interest in the Wonder Woman movies, but I'm sure he's been axed with everyone else in the Discovery Warner Brothers acquisition or merger.
Yeah, I didn't know where he was from.
Where he's from.
Only really, I recognized the Simon, the
Justice Smith. He was probably my second most I don't know about him.
Oh, okay.
Because he's kind of annoying, and
yeah,
I think he's obviously supposed to be a little annoying, and he does that a little too well, I guess. But he did all right. I liked him.
Yeah,
I liked everyone in this, and then the girl, the tiefling.
Yeah,
you know where she's from.
I do. The whole movie, I was like, "Where is she from?"
I didn't want to tell you till now.
Okay, I had to look it up because it was
up.
bugging me. I'm like, she looks so familiar, but I couldn't pinpoint it. So she's Beverly.
She's Beverly.
From It.
Yep.
And the whole movie, I was like, I know her, but I just couldn't. It was bugging me too much, man.
Yeah,
it really was.
I did not know she was in this. I saw maybe clips, a little clip or trailer or something before, maybe screenshots, and I didn't see her. I didn't notice her in any of that. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw her here in the movie, I was like, oh, that's neat that she's, moving on from It and stuff. Because, this child actors sometimes never really go on to do other things and stuff. And I thought that was neat. I did think she was probably the weakest of the few, other than her ability to turn into an owl wolf. I mean, owl wolf would be cool. An owl bear. That was super neat.
Yeah.
And it looked amazing.
Yes.
So many of the effects, just in general, practical and special effects and CGI, looked incredible in this movie. Incredible.
Yeah.
That's probably the main thing I took away from this movie too. Is this movie is not super, super high budget. It's $150 million budget. So it's nothing compared to what you'd expect a movie with super crazy effects would have. Things like Marvel movies are going to cost $300 plus, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes $500, and it's just like, what is this going to? At some point.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see a lot of practical effects used. Lots of practical effects. Almost everything had practical effects, where things were mostly stationary, and then CG was kind of laid over stuff. And so that's why a lot of things looked a little too real, maybe. And so it kind of gave it a goofiness, especially like Jonathan.
Oh my gosh.
He looks, I think he probably is the unsung star of the show, of the movie. And he was, how long was he in it? Like maybe 45 seconds total?
Yeah, totally.
and he looked amazing. Movie went on to make so far, according to the wiki page, about 200 million. I'm sure it's a little more than that at this point, but I hope it continues to make money so we can see the future of what these guys maybe can do. Maybe not a proper sequel, but maybe the same guys, the crew and director and stuff can make another Dungeons and Dragons quest. And it's kind of, the doors are open. It doesn't need to be Chris Pine and friends. It can be a completely different campaign every time.
Different group of friends.
And they've proven it. But it hasn't struck gold like a Marvel movie or anything. So we might not see another one. We might. That's kind of up in the air. This movie had a really hard time getting off the ground. It took about 10 years to get to the big screen. It's because all these major companies were fighting over the rights of Dungeons and Dragons. Who owns the rights to put this on the big screen?
I'd be surprised how many movies took that long.
Yeah.
Because, we vaguely covered that in Ender's Game. How he also took about 10 movies for movie rights and screenplay and all these things. And, so I'm a little surprised, but I'm not that surprised.
Yeah, especially for a non-original IP, trying to adapt in quotes it in some way. I bet you that is probably pretty common, is it? Non-Jaws.
Yeah, non-Jaws.
Non-Jaws. That happened months after the book came out, because they were working side by side. That was sick. That's a sick combo, man. Lucky man.
Yeah,
love it for him, for the writer, for the book writer. I hope he benefited from that in a major way.
I mean, it might have been worth those 10 years, because this movie was pretty amazing. I mean, I'm sure everyone I've talked to that has seen it,
I know, right?
has loved it so much.
And you're just like, no way.
Yeah, before I saw it, I was like, oh, you sound so right now.
I know, right?
And then you watch it, you're like, damn.
I know, right? And I'm seeing those number scores. I'm like, that's awfully high. Like, okay, like, are we just hungry for something different, or what's going on? I don't know. Like, is it?
Yeah, I was just like, okay, you nerd. Like, you don't have to be that big of a fan. Like, what is wrong with you? But no, they made me swallow my words.
They sure did.
Damn.
I was like, how good can it be? I expected it to be. I expected it to be about as good as. I don't want this to be the litmus test or the caliber, but as good as Uncharted.
Okay.
For me, at least, did you like Uncharted? I forget.
It was okay.
It was okay. Yeah.
It was just okay.
It was okay for me too. I thought it was a good that first run into what video game movies can become.
Yeah.
Because before that we had a bunch of nonsense, and that one was like pretty okay. It felt. I mean, I will say, what's the guy's name? Spider-Man dude. Tom. What's his?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, and maybe Mark Wahlberg. I guess say this, but that movie's a little beneath them. I hate to say it, and Antonio Banderas is obviously, but he's just. I'm sure he's happy to just work with anyone because he's got that Puss in Boots accolade.
That's true.
He's made it, man. His character Zorro got adapted into a fucking cat version. That's a win. That's like the win of wins. Okay, so I'm sure he didn't give a shit what he's doing now, but I'm still a little bit in surprise mode with this movie because I came at it. I'm not gonna lie, like a grumpy grump. My arms were crossed, and I was like, impress me.
Oh, and that's even harder.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. And then when they were in prison, I immediately loosened up. I'm like, why are they cutting up ice? It's like. That's funny. I like that. And I like the.
Why are they cutting up ice?
It's like they have like the opposite of the Prisoner of Azkaban kind of building, like the inverted version. You know how you can see out the Prisoner of Azkaban? It looks like you can see out into the water in the Prisoner of Azkaban. And in this, it's real tall, but you can only see inward, like a normal prison, but just real tall, I guess. Basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they go on little trial to appeal their case and ask for early probation or whatever, and then they have this plan to escape, and then they escape while they also get early release, and it's just like that's good stuff.
Yes.
That's good stuff. I don't know if they can do it twice. Like, not exactly that, but I don't know if they can do a Dungeons and Dragons campaign 2. But that setup is just, it's great.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, I have coworkers that went to see it in the pre-release.
Yeah, why was that pre-release window so big, or like so popular to go to?
I don't know.
I had a friend who went too, right?
Yeah.
They must have gone to the same pre-release, right? It happened in one day.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it was like through Amazon. Amazon was like, "Hey, do you want to come see this?" And they were like, yeah, we do."
That's cool.
And then they went to go see it, and then we all went to lunch together. And this other coworker, he was like, "Oh, have you guys heard about this movie?" And they were like, "We already went to go see it." And then they talked about how amazing it is and how awesome. And I'm like, I'm gonna throw up this burger right now in front of you guys.
Oh my god!
Just how much they were loving it. And I'm like, okay,
what'd they say about anything specific?
No, they didn't want to give out spoilers.
Oh yeah, of course, I got you.
And
nerds,
yeah, exactly. And even the other guy that was first started talking about it, he's like, "I don't want to hear about it."
Yeah.
I'm just saying it looks good. You guys saw it. Why didn't you tell me? And that's when they told me about the Amazon thing.
Okay.
So he was like, it wasn't like we could invite you. So after that, I was like, I don't know about this. And then other people talking about it, and it's like, okay. And then really, Jonathan was what made me like, okay, I'm gonna fucking love this movie.
You're all in?
Yes, I was all in. Like, first, what
was
was
that?
That,
was there a
15
build
minutes?
up to it, or was he just it?
No, it was a build up because
okay.
of how he told his like backstory. Like how he filled us in that quickly, trying to get himself, let go, trying to get himself released early.
Yeah.
And then Holga, is that
Holga?
Michelle?
Yeah.
She's eating a potato. And I'm like, why is this girl just munching on a potato? Like, what is this? So there was a build up.
Yeah.
And that's funny that you say that about the ice. I didn't think about that, but that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, they escape. I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah,
and
I forgot about the potato thing. That was good stuff. Because it's just little things like that are exactly what a player character is going to make their stupid ass character do.
Yes.
It's good stuff. I forgot about that. That's so good. Love it. I can't get over the effects in this movie. I'm just gonna say that right now. I can't stop thinking about it. It's kind of what Star Wars used to be, and maybe to some degree still is. I'm not too familiar with Star Wars really, especially. I'm not familiar with Star Wars really that much at all, but especially the more recent stuff. I'm not sure how many practical effects are getting slung around in Star Wars now, but back in the day, they were the benchmark for what practical effects can do to your movie and how it can elevate it. And I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I can't help but to appreciate that on a deep, deep level, because there's just something so caring and like passionate when you do something like that. When you go that extra mile to bring something to life.
Yeah.
And I love CG generated things. I love games more than anything, but it's just there's nothing like creating this timeless artifact that is real and that the actors can mess with, and that never looks old, because it's real. It's awesome. I just love it. I love it so much. And then I always say, why you make everything practical, and then where the CG can make it a little more flexible and give it some real movement, make that happen.
Yeah. And a lot of the dragons and monsters were practical, and some of the actors were saying how they were glad that they had something tangible to like interact with, something to look at. It gave them a lot of like immersion, I guess, to film, and they loved it. Even though who was it, Hugh, whatever his name is,
Hugh Grant,
Forge, he was the only one that said I didn't like it. They kind of caught me off guard when I would just look, and then there's a dragon. It's like, wait, so I don't know. Maybe that's just him.
He's a boomer.
But
yeah, imagine like too much fake blue green screen things you're holding that don't have actual any representation of being a thing, it throws actors off. And I don't want to say throws them off, but the whole philosophy at the core of being an actor is to basically trick your mind into being that character, right? At its core. However you do that is, different techniques, different methods, right?
Right.
Different success rates, whatever. You cannot sit there and tell me holding a green thing or whatever, I don't call it. Green and blues, I guess, are often the
green.
colors
Green is
that are
where
used.
my mind goes to. Yeah.
And they are going to be able to interact with it in the same way. And there's just, the actor has to work to try to trick their mind. They're not just that character and they can do the thing. They need to work at it. And so the production crew, directors, and the artists on board need to, at the very least, meet them halfway.
Yes. Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get this obsession to put CG where it just isn't. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If it can be real, make it real.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a few behind the scenes kind of deals with movies. And the one that comes to mind that's the most, I don't know how to say it, almost pathetic and losing its magic of what a movie is.
Moonfall.
No.
No, okay. That's the worst.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the behind the scenes of that or whatever, but Twilight. When Bella is petting Jacob. Yeah. And it's really Taylor Lautner in a green suit, and she's just petting his head, and he's supposed to be in a wolf form. And you're just ew. Yeah. So, I don't know. Prompts to actors and actresses that can
work within those weird boundaries.
But like you said, if you don't have to, and you can work with a puppet or just something real,
you can make
why
puppets
not?
look so badass now. We didn't have the CG capabilities that we do now in the 70s, right? It was just all mostly compositing back then. But now you can literally make anything happen, And so and with Taylor Lautner, why not have the wolf puppet? He's stationary, especially probably in that scene, right? He's stationary, and then put CG if he's panting,
Yes.
Put some CG with the tongue, make the tongue CG, I guess, and then maybe the mouth has some kind of mechanical device moving it.
Yeah.
This is a funny thing I'm about to tell you. So the first picked director for this movie was Chris McKay. I don't know if we brought it up last time, but he didn't go on to direct it, but he is the director of Renfield. So I just thought it was kind of funny that we just watched Renfield, Chris McKay movie, and he was the original pick for this movie, and he ended up being a producer for this movie too. But I just thought it was kind of funny that I guess his movies are kind of back to back at the theater too, but we just watched them back to back. I thought that was really funny.
That is funny. It's like a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is much better than Renfield, I will say.
I know. I'm so sad, but it is. Jonathan
Goldstein, John Francis Daly, they got some filmmaking chops. I will say. Good stuff. They wrote it and directed it too, which is always very cool.
That's impressive,
very cool.
Yeah.
When you can direct your own movie. I know, because all these writers are trying to sell their ideas to directors and production houses and stuff, and something, you call that, right? You call it a sellout. Direct your own movie. I know it's hard. It's easier said than done, but
yeah. So apparently the cast all played a D&D game together, including the directors, to get in the mindset of filming this, which I thought that was pretty cool. That's a cool thing to do.
That's neat.
Yeah. They brought in some professional, awesome DM to make a campaign for them, and they just played, and I thought that was so cool. I don't know how actors get to interact with each other, how often they get to do these kinds of things before filming, but I always think that stuff is great, and it shows in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their cohesiveness.
They had great chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be surprised if actors messed with each other in any way pre shoots and stuff. 'Cause I think a lot of times they don't even see each other but 1 or 2 days on set.
Yeah, unless they have a scene together, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they're not, because you have to pay them if they're there. That's the kind of thing. They don't want you to be on set more than you have to, because they paid Chris Pine $20 million. So he's like, nah, you can't. You don't need to be here Monday and Tuesday because you don't got that $1 million more to pay. You good.
That's funny.
That kind of thing, because all that stuff, all those people are so protected now that most production houses won't even let you do your own stunts because your pay grade goes up that much more. And so it's cheaper to pay a stuntman than to let your pay grade go up that much more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so that's why it's a pretty big deal that like Tom Cruise does a lot of his own stunts.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive. It's an expensive buy, but he also brings in those butts,
Yes.
There's not a lot of people who do that. But Tom Cruise he's of that cut.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I always thought, I guess, which is still a reason too, I'm sure, so, to protect the actor. So you need them for the rest of the movie. You need them for the sequel. You need them for the series.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it too.
You want to protect them at all costs. You don't want them getting hurt. You don't want them, whatever, dying.
Yeah,
God
you don't
forbid.
want the lawsuits.
Yeah. So that's where my mind went on stunt doubles, but that's cool. I didn't think about that they would get paid more to do their own stunts. So.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah, I'd rather pay this stunt double $25,000, or am I gonna pay Chris Pine? I keep saying that. I don't know why.
You can call him that. That's okay.
Chris Pine, $2 million more.
That's true.
To do all of his stunts. Like, oh man.
You pay him that, or you pay everybody's stunt double that much.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know about that. So, but the moral of the story is we need to probably up the rates of the stunt doubles a little bit.
That's true.
A bit.
That's true.
They're also trained to fall perfectly and not get hurt and stuff.
Sure,
I'm sure
but still.
They still get hurt though, yeah. Who was your favorite character?
I don't know who my favorite character was. I have a lot of favorite scenes and a lot of favorite parts, but favorite character, I don't know if I had one. Out of the main 4?
The whole movie. Anyone, even side characters. My favorite character is a side character. He probably said one line. I may have not said anything. I'm not actually sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
My second favorite character was he was there for a minute and then left.
Who's your favorite character?
My favorite character is Bradley Cooper's little cameo as a short guy.
What's his name? Marvelism.
That was awesome.
That's funny.
That was awesome.
That's one of my funny scenes.
Yeah, I guess he's hardly a character, but he was my favorite that was my favorite bit.
Funny.
My favorite character though, I guess you could say, is
Jonathan.
No, he'd probably be my third favorite little dude. Who was the guy who was just like really good at being in this world? Zinc. Yeah, Zinc was probably my favorite character just because he was...
Yeah, that's what I was trying to...
He was like the perfect NPC who... He was, he was just...
Yeah.
Like a god amongst men, just because he was like, he's probably like level 20. He was like... They didn't even... He's been AFK'd around the controller, rubber bands controlling him. He's not even...
No, that's hilarious. You say that because it even gives it the more game quality when he's like, all right, you guys, peace out. This is your quest. Bye. Yeah. It's like, wait, no, we need you. Like, I thought he was going to be not a main character, but at least a character that helps them defeat the witch, whatever her name was, Sophina. I thought he was going to be a critical player in helping them beat Sophina.
Yeah.
Or even a critical player in helping Simon learn how to use the helmet or, something. But he's like, nah, peace out, bye.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too.
Because it is kind of a funny call upon when you play D&D or when you play video games. You come across these characters who are definitely capable, if not more capable than you are to handle the situation, and they're just not participating. Kind of like Marvel, but the Marvel thing takes itself way too serious. Where each micro series within Marvel, you have, a world-threatening disaster happening, but where are all the other Avengers,
Where's Iron Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the reverse, but it's done really poorly because it's, Marvel sucks.
Marvel doesn't suck. Especially early Marvel.
Yeah, before Disney got involved.
Yeah.
That first Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. After Black Widow, it's just, man. But
Manga, I wouldn't. That's still too
far out.
We need to watch Black Widow just to see how bad it is. I've seen that one scene where they're like reaching for something and an explosion's happening, and there's the compositing is just unbelievably bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything about it.
It's bad stuff. It's just, the lighting. Lighting can help fix almost all of that,
Or destroy a movie.
Well, I mean, better lighting can help.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Like I was saying, I think that's kind of the core of a lot of the Disney remakes problems. I think a lot of it not all of it, but a lot of it has to do with lighting. But like Aladdin and Lion King probably especially could do for better lighting, because those movies are both no doubt competent movies, but they look so bad.
I didn't think they looked bad.
Like they should have gone for a naturalistic looking Lion King, obviously.
Right? Yes.
And they shouldn't have gone with, in Aladdin, the light. I mean, it's been a minute since I've seen it, to be fair.
That's true. Maybe you should rewatch them and then...
Yeah, I shouldn't. You're right. But Aladdin, in my mind's eye, looks a little too...
blue.
Like a little too... I feel like orange, and it should be a little more brown. Needs to kind of back up on that. But it's been a minute.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
don't
too
know
blue?
about that.
Is that the wrong? Am I going
No,
the wrong
I don't
direction?
know. I was just guessing.
Like maybe I want it to be a little more natural too,
Okay.
and less.
Which would make sense. It's a lot of outside scenes,
Mm-hmm.
and you have, you're out there and wherever they are.
Yeah, because it's like they're in Arabia, right?
Yeah, Arabian Nights. Yeah.
So like the sun is, kind of
That's a
major thing of the desert area.
Yes.
So like I feel like naturalism, natural light is a little bit of a necessity for that sort of movie. And then when you have like a hyper realistic set of animals,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of demands a naturalistic view too.
Yeah.
Although you could argue, I guess, that because they're hyper realistic, they're not realistic. They're hyper realistic, right? A Lion King sort of has a hyper realistic or a hyper naturalistic feel to it, but I don't know. I have to rewatch it. Kind of a splitting hairs kind of point, I think. But yeah, Zinc was my favorite just because it was perfect. His look, loved his hair, loved his outfit, loved his cadence. He felt like an NPC who just didn't have control over himself.
Yeah.
And it was good stuff. And all the characters were like, when he would say stuff or not like understand stuff, the characters would just be like,
Yeah.
They'd be a little bit thrown off.
Yeah, when Simon used, sarcasm, he's like, "What are you saying? That is not it." He's like, "No, it's sarcasm, dude." He's like, "Why do you speak like that?"
It's like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. Except different. Except well done.
I like that too.
What was your favorite scene? Couple scenes?
I had quite a few things that I liked. Of course. Well, I guess this is the top. The dragon. The fat dragon. I forgot his name, but I love that. That's like such a, I don't know if I want to say a D&D thing, but it's that playfulness again with encountering something so stupid. Like, why is this dragon fat? What? But I loved it. I loved he couldn't fly.
Yeah, I love that he couldn't fly. I love that he would like scoot across the ground and he couldn't really, like when they would get on those like scaffolding type bridges, he just couldn't reach them, and then he was like just bumping up against them and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was probably my favorite.
What was another of your favorite scenes?
Probably the heist scene, I guess, if you can call it that, when they use the hither thither stick, cane, staff, whatever it was, to do the portal under the carriage, and then they would sneak in there. That was so cool.
That was
that
very
whole
cool.
bit was so cool.
And they would pry the wooden planks at the bottom of the carriage off.
Yeah.
And they put them back.
And they put them back.
That was good stuff.
That whole bit was awesome.
That was awesome. That just makes you, I don't know, those kinds of bits make you, I feel like they force you to believe that must have happened in a campaign. You know what I mean? That's just such top-notch writing and very situational and requires all these these parts to perfectly align with each other. That feels like that happened to someone in someone's campaign in Jonathan or John Daly's D&D. That's such a good stuff.
Yeah, and another of my favorite parts was the illusion with Chris Pine. That illusion they played on the guards, and then his foot got stuck, so he started like, disillude. He started. I don't know.
I don't even know what
glitching.
to call it. Yeah.
I don't know what he
glitch.
started doing, and I'm like, that's something that you would roll, and then you'd get a bad roll, and you just got fucked, and you're glitched, and now they discovered you. So like a lot of those little playful things were some of my favorite parts.
That was funny. Yeah, why couldn't he get his foot out of that hole?
I know.
Why was he stuck so bad?
It was like too long, and I'm like, dude, just pull it out. No, run.
And that's like funny on like another level because maybe he had to roll to get his foot out.
To get his foot out. Yeah,
so it's like it's one of those stupid video gamey things that's like this is happening. This is taking way too long to do.
Yes.
But it's because you have to go through the tropey, nonsense systems to get through it. That's good stuff. And
the other one was when Simon triggered the bridge when the Zinc, whatever his name was like explaining to them like how they had to move like 2 steps to the right and 3 forward or whatever.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then Simon just like triggered the bridge and it all collapsed. And he's like, "Well, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "What is this?" It's just that's awesome.
Is that when the tiefling dork, the it girl, is that when she revealed she had that staff?
No.
Or did that happen right before?
Holga had the staff.
Was that when she revealed the staff?
Yeah, that was when she revealed the staff because she got it from Marleman, her midget dude. And
I guess I missed that.
Yeah, so she had bought him that as a cane. And then they broke up, because now he had this big new woman. And he's like, "Do you want your cane back?" And she's like, "Yeah, I guess." And she took her cane with her, and then they went on their adventure. And then the bridge collapses.
Okay.
So she's like, starts taking potatoes and stuff out of her bag, and the cane came out. And she's like, "Well, I got this cane." And the dude's like, "No, that's a hither thither
That's
staff."
funny. That's funny. That's cute. Okay.
So that whole bit, she saved him from being stupid.
I like that what's his name? Marleman?
Yeah.
I like that his new woman was bigger
Yes.
than she was. That was funny. Because it's like, does Holga have a thing for little guys? Or does Marleman have a thing for bigger girls? And I think Marleman has a thing for bigger girls. Especially.
At the end there, though, Holga.
Oh, yeah. Confirmed that Holga. It wasn't. Yeah, she has a thing for smaller guys, too.
Smaller guys, too.
That's funny.
So it just worked out for them.
Yeah, what do you think of Forge as a bad guy? As a temporary bad guy, kind of. He was
just a pawn.
He was
Sofina.
The face of the bad guy. And
then
they revealed the mask. Or they took off the mask.
Like the plot twist,
Yeah.
He's like, "Take care of my daughter." He's like, "You got it." But really, he's just stealing the daughter and stealing people's gold. So, I like that. I like that plot twist. I like the actor, I guess. I think he portrayed his character well. He did good. But I guess my favorite part of Forge's story is where he lives. What is it called? Neverwinter. And that whole scenery, set, whatever, I thought that was awesome. Probably one of my favorite shots was when you saw the castle, and then right next to the castle you saw the balloon the hot air balloon with his face on it,
That was cool.
and all that just looked like a cool shot.
Yeah, I agree. That reminded me of there was like a brochure or something with a moving image on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen that anywhere
That's
else
right.
except in Harry Potter.
That's right.
It's like, yeah, why is that not anywhere else? I mean, there's not a lot of fantasy stuff coming out
True.
that would demand that, but yeah, I don't feel like I've seen that anywhere else. I thought that was kind of neat, and because like I feel like that's super, super, super iconic to Harry Potter.
Yes.
So that's I wouldn't say risky thing. Anyone can do it, but like that's like I feel, someone can be like, I'm ripping off Harry Potter.
You got that from
But
Harry Potter.
everything was so tastefully done in this movie. Super classy movie. That
Yes.
I liked when they introduced Dork
Mm-hmm.
and and she was an owlbear. How the camera was not on the owlbear; it was away from it, and we were like seeing the mayhem happen. Like we weren't aware that it was not a threat. I like that.
What do you mean?
The camera wasn't behind or on her shoulder or didn't make it a silly scene.
Yeah.
Still sort of a threat, I guess,
But not.
a threat to Simon, maybe. He got a second chance, though.
He did get a second chance. I guess that's what happens when you get confident. I don't know.
Yeah, was that the message there? That was pretty... That was like one of the... I don't know if we got a lot of messages in this. That was a pretty loud and clear one, though, wasn't it? Get a little bit of confidence that you can win the girl.
Believe in yourself. Yeah.
Which is funny because that's... I don't know, maybe that's a good mark for the like whole, statistical side of D&D, where if you can just get the numbers, you can win, If you can get the right skills, right skill points, you can win. And so maybe his confidence went up one level, boom, wins the girl. And so maybe that's kind of a fun play at that.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see them doing that.
Those little moments are so easy to briefly, just for a second, forget that these are not real people. They're caricatures of some player's mind, basically, trying to have fun. And so there's some statistical kind of reverence necessary. I thought for a brief second that at the end that Holga and Chris Pine's character, what's his name? Edgin. I feel like I thought they were gonna try something that they might. For a brief second, I was like, because they had the mother-father thing going.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, probably the weakest part of this movie, I said probably was Dorks, the girl, but
the daughter.
It was probably the daughter. I feel like she was just.
I agree.
She kind of sucked.
I agree.
Because I feel like Dork's performance, she was kind of, I want to say eye-rolly, but not really, but just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what I think about her character.
I mean, Doric's performance for me was awesome, but that may just be because she could transform into all this cool stuff. So, I don't know.
And she didn't have any big performance pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it might just be a little too hard on her, but that kid was a little shit, wasn't she?
I agree. I think she's probably one of the weaker ones, if not the weakest. Because, like, even with Doric, like, one of my favorite parts or scenes is when she leans into the portal in the carriage, and, like, we get this flip, kind of.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome. But, I mean, I guess it's not her saying anything. She doesn't have any dialogue. She's not really doing much besides just flipping, but...
Yeah, it's just nice VFX with the camera work right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if anything really sticks out against Doric. Maybe she just kind of falls kind of neutral with me, which she's a kind of a tertiary character anyways. She's kind of just there to buttress their heist and to give Justice Smith some back and forth.
Yeah. Ultimately.
So maybe being a little hard on her, and she's a young kid actor, so I'm just not. This is how I am with them, I guess. But yeah, she's good now. Now that I think about it, she's good. Right. She's fine. She works with me. I like her. I mean, she's one of the better characters in it. Actually, her and Richie. I don't know the actor's name. He's in Stranger Things. Mike, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know his name either.
Mike from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
Mike.
great in it. He's easily the star in the part 1, of course. Part 2's trash. Yeah. What do you think of like the maze section? Sort of maze section.
I thought that was cool. I like well, first of all, I liked all the monsters and creatures of this world.
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them are cool.
I don't know if I have a favorite one.
Yeah.
Maybe the intellect devourer dudes, the little walking brains that if they walk past you and they smell.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. What is it if they smell that you have like a high intelligence, they'll attack you?
Yeah.
But if you don't, they'll just keep walking by and they just go walking by.
Yeah. And they make it a point earlier. Chris Pine's character is the smartest of the bunch, and apparently not.
Yeah.
That was good.
So loved all the creatures.
Those were cool. I forgot about the brain guys. Those are cool.
Those were awesome. And in the maze, we have a lot of creatures that are a big part of fantasy and video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mimics, you see those in...
Yeah, proper mimics too. None of the mimic, the chest didn't change into something else.
Yeah.
It's a proper, the chest is the thing, it's mimicking a chest to get your ass.
Yes.
I do love the Dark Souls mimics where they grow long ass legs and arms. Those are fucking awesome. But I also love this mimic. This is a very cool mimic.
So I like that, that, can you call him a monster? He's a monster, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's like the worst kind of monster. Monster disguising itself as something else.
That's true. That is the worst kind of monster.
Makes you afraid of everyday objects.
I like the gelatinous cube.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah. And the very, very, very few D&D knowledge I have
is,
well, I don't have that much knowledge, but I know about the gelatinous cube.
I didn't know. I mean, I guess I assumed, but I've never thought about that being in D&D.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then it's also in Onward. You remember that movie? Onward.
It's in Onward?
There's a giant gelatinous cube in Onward, so I like that they brought it in this world.
I didn't realize that.
Which Onward got it from D&D. Yeah, it's in Onward. There's a giant gelatinous cube. So I like that they put that in the maze, that she used that as an escape. I like the Panther, Venus flytrap looking monster. I don't know his name.
Yeah, I don't know what he's called, but he could project himself from his little tentacle things.
Yeah. That was so cool.
That was cool.
All of them were cool. And then they get to the middle, and the middle of the maze, and everyone who's winning is in there, and they're like, "Yay!" And then Edgin is like, "Wait, no, this is not a winning," and everyone in the cage starts looking scared, like, "What? We didn't win? Like, what are you talking about, dude?"
Yeah. Did you see how they look? Like, they looked super lame and from like the 70s or whatever, kind of D&D.
Yeah, I loved that. I love that whole bit.
That was cool. What do you think about the final boss fight?
You mean the Avengers fight?
It was kind of Avengers-y, wasn't it?
It was super Avengers-y.
I think the music probably was doing that.
No, because you have the scene at the end of the Avengers where all of them start using their powers to attack. I don't remember who they're attacking. The bad guy they're attacking. And they're all using their powers all at once.
Yeah.
While the bad guy's like trying to stop them. I'm like, okay, that's Avengers. But, let it slide. Whatever. And then you have the owl bear just smashing Safina's face in.
Yeah, that screams Hulk, doesn't it?
I'm like, that's Hulk right there. Come on. Like, which I'm not mad at, honestly.
Yeah. No, I think that's a hard thing to not call upon, because Avengers is just, or Marvel is just so big now. Was it okay? Is it a sin though?
No, it was okay. I'm not mad at it. I liked it.
That's good.
But it just gave me a super Avengers vibe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm okay
I didn't
with
get
that.
them until you said it. I was like, oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because that's exactly what Hulk did. Start smashing, and then like he'd stop for a second and then continue smashing.
Yeah. That was. I mean, yeah, exactly.
And I like the end where
I was about to say that
they rescue Holga instead of the mom, and
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but it did give my heart a little extra thump.
Yeah.
Like, aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that. I guess that maybe was a little obvious. Did it feel obvious when it happened? You're like, oh yeah, of course they're gonna.
Yes, but everything else in the movie was like, oh no, we're stopping here and we're pivoting. Or like, this original plan didn't work, so let's do this other plan. Then I'm like, okay, is it really gonna happen?
Yeah,
or,
that's funny. Okay, yeah.
You know?
I'm glad they went that route. That's when I thought Holga and Edgin were gonna hook up in some capacity.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't. Although
I'm glad they didn't, because
it would have felt forced.
It would have felt forced. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Well said.
Yeah, especially when I don't remember what scene it was, but they were talking about his lips, and then something about kissing him, and she's like, "Ew, gross." Like, so, like, friendship, friend zone, like, we're just friends. And they're just friends taking care of a child together because he's clueless and she needs a family. So.
Yeah, too bad she sucked, that girl. What's her name?
Kira.
Yeah, too bad she sucked. She almost had NPC energy too.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe, I don't know.
Maybe that's intentional.
Maybe it's intentional, because Chris Pine's character also wasn't really that concerned. It felt like, you know what I mean? He didn't seem that concerned.
That's funny.
He was just on the job, and getting stuff done. So, yeah, I don't know. That little angle of the movie, which isn't much. I guess it does kind of initiate a lot of it, but it doesn't add up to much. And we're so far away from Kira, 95% of it, that she's largely inconsequential.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Bradley Cooper was a cameo in this. That was funny. I was like, what the fuck is Bradley Cooper doing here?
Why is he a halfling? Why?
And the camera was so far away from him, you could hardly tell it was Bradley Cooper, which I like. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I was reading that Michelle Rodriguez had to gain a lot of muscle.
She gained muscle for this.
She said she gained like 10 pounds in muscle for this role.
Wow.
Which she loved. She said she loved, doing that. She's like, I hadn't done that kind of training since my 20s. So I thought that was cool. I we've talked about this before. I appreciate when actors do that kind of thing for the role.
That's a mark of their
commitment
and passion to the art. Whether you like her or not, that's real. That's very real stuff. It's just that kind of exposes, I feel like, Marvel. She's in the Thor movie. She's one of the Asgardians. Why is she not bulked up for that?
That's true.
She's like, Marvel, lazy productions. I don't know how those movies cost so much with all your interns.
Maybe it's
are you paying Taika Waititi so much? Yeah, maybe there's a lot of interns on it. Maybe that's why, to get the job done. Normally you get like, I don't know how many people are on a production crew for a Marvel movie. Maybe 500 people.
I have no idea.
Maybe more. Maybe 500 to 1,000 people. With theoretically, I should say, maybe. But with nothing but interns, maybe you have like 10,000. So that's why they're so expensive.
Maybe the lunches are expensive.
Yeah, like at Twitter.
Yeah, that's exactly what made me think of it. Like, all right, everybody gets $200 for lunch and dinner. Like, oh, okay, sweet.
There might be something to that. That's funny stuff right there.
Robert Downey Jr. needs his, I don't know,
his eggs from Germany,
coffee. I don't know.
Yeah, coffee from Turkey. Yeah. His bagels from Long Island. His sausages,
fresh made every day.
It's got to come in on the plane. There's probably something to that. Something tells me Robert Downey Jr. is like that too.
Oh, really?
So I bet you he is. I bet you he's so, what do you call that?
Bougie?
I guess bougie, but the worst kind of bougie. Entitled motherfucker.
Entitled bougie.
I bet you he is like that. He's probably he's training Spider-Man dude to be that way too. He seems pretty humble though.
He does.
So far. I mean, he's just getting going in his career, but hopefully he holds on to that. He's got good energy.
How do you feel about the fighting scenes?
They're inoffensive because a lot of times in fighting scenes, you'll get crazy edits, crazy cuts that just muddy the fuck out of it, and I don't think that was anywhere to be seen here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, I'm usually not very impressed by fighting scenes. I'm not into that kind of action.
Oh, okay.
Very much. The only kind of action like that I like is like John Wick, basically, and it's just the crazy amount of choreography,
I thought you were
that
gonna
kind of
say,
stuff.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, of course, Jackie Chan too. And then Michelle Yeoh with Everything Everywhere at Once, with her taking definitely a note out of Jackie Chan's notebook with use everything as a weapon, type of thing, and that's very cool and it's very fun to watch because you're all of a sudden you're not just watching two people. The entire scene is like at their disposal to be fucked around with and stuff, and it's like
well, that's the scene where Holga and Edwin are about to get beheaded, and she grabs that brick.
Yeah,
like that's an awesome fight.
Yeah, that was a good fight. I forgot about that one. Yeah,
she's quite a few fighting scenes. When the undead, whatever you call them, Thayans, whatever they were, where the fat dragon was in the dungeon. There's a bit of a fighting scene there, and then they all come back, and that's funny. I like that. So there were a few fighting scenes in here that I liked. Yeah,
when they were cuffed, were they cuffed or were they just like being detained, sort of?
I don't think they were cuffed because she was grabbing onto the brick.
Yeah, I remember that being pretty good. I liked that. And the fighting scene with the owlbears, it's cool, but it's meh. The bear itself is cool. But the fighting part is just whatever. The fighting scene with Zinc fighting the Thanes was, I don't remember it well enough. Yeah, I remember the brick one though. I like that one. And then I liked the when her axe was in the pit of like molten iron or steel or whatever. That was cool because it was just another good nod to just the absurdity of D&D and video game upgrades and stuff. How you can just like provide the materials, whatever, do the nonsense, and then boom, you got something cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. I did like that. And that wouldn't fit anywhere else. That wouldn't fit in any other show or movie.
Yeah.
Other than this kind of thing. That was cool. And it looked cool too. She got a cool weapon. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of fighting normally. It's pretty boring.
Really?
I would say, yeah.
I'm a fan of fighting scenes. I always appreciate a good fighting scene in any action movie. I think that's why I like action movies.
Yeah.
Because you have this craziness.
Yeah. I guess. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, but I do appreciate when they use their surroundings and the items around them to.
Yeah, that's a very Jackie Chan thing.
Yeah.
He kind of invented that on the screen, at least.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that too. That's pretty much the avenue of fighting I like. And I will say, normally fighting doesn't take me away from a movie as long as those cuts are not butchered. Like in Renfield. Renfield, those fights got so out of control. And it hurts it. I'd just rather no fight scenes. Because
you have the end fighting scene where I think this one's a little bit cooler. Although I do like the one with Holga the best.
And you gotta give props to the one with Holga because that was in a tight room too. That was, you could very easily see a bunch of edits and cuts happening, and I did not feel like that got muddied down at all. And then of course the one at the end is outside, so we have
there's
a
magic.
much wider lens, and there's magic and stuff. So it's the hand was very cool. Thought that was cool.
Yeah, the dragon coming to life was cool.
The dragon coming to life was very cool.
Dragon, like I don't know. I like a good fighting scene.
I liked it. Yeah. I liked that. I liked that more than probably any Marvel fight. The fight, of course, like in Endgame is pretty cool because of all the immense amount of shit that's happening. It's a vomit of CG all over the place, and it's cool. It is pretty cool, and then all the heroes, and taking their turns on Thanos, and Thanos beating the shit out of everyone. Wait, is that the end of Endgame, or is that the end of the part 1? Because doesn't he win during that fight, and he snaps everybody away?
Yes.
When I'm talking about the big landscape of people are funneling in and
Yes.
stuff. Is that the part 1?
I don't. Do they do it twice? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I just remember from that fighting scene that they had all the women kind of all next to each other, and they made sure they like panned on them and stood on them for like
Did they really?
10 seconds too long. And I'm like, okay, good
And
job,
then-
Marvel. Good job.
And Captain Marvel wasn't there.
Yeah.
Or Miss Marvel, whatever her name is.
Captain Marvel?
Brie Larson's
Yeah.
character. I heard she's being recasted.
Oh.
I've heard she's hard to work with, but it's
Yeah, I
probably
don't
just
know.
because I don't know. You can't claiming someone's hard to work with, but they normally work with Disney is kind of like I can't take
Are
that
you
super
hard to
super
work
serious, like because I imagine Disney's hard to work for, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. So I say that, but the quality of their movies is only dropping, so maybe it's not that hard. But they got all those interns. They're grooming all those young people.
Well, maybe that's the problem. You have your people leaving, so you gotta get noobs.
Yeah, they. What's his name? James Gunn is in the process or just left with, Guardians 3 is it. He's done.
Damn.
And so he's been hired by Warner Brothers, and he's going to be the head. He's going to be who's the head of Marvel? Not Bob Iger, Kevin Feige. He's going to be the Kevin Feige of DC.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to be quite the job, no doubt. I mean, I can't, no matter how you feel about Marvel, Kevin Feige's job is probably pretty stressful, getting all these productions out and keeping them coherent and continuous with one another. And I'm sure that's not fun. I'm sure he goes to bed at probably 3 a.m. and wakes up at 5 every day. I'm sure he's not very happy. But James Gunn's gonna be doing that for DC, but he wants to not only do it with movies and shows, but he wants to do it with video games as well. He wants everything to be, continuous with one another and have some kind of overarching plot, which he's gonna be in for a very rude awakening with games, because he's gonna find out that they take much longer to make than movies.
Yep.
So good luck.
Good luck.
James Gunn.
Good luck.
Supposedly his first 2 ones, only one's been officially announced, but the first one's going to be tied in with his universe, his DC universe, is the Wonder Woman game made by Monolith. So that was announced like 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh, okay. I was just about to ask.
So we will see about that.
I was going to say, reading on some of these reviews and what people have to say about this movie, they're getting a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, which I didn't see. Also, I've only seen the first Guardians. I didn't feel them.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. I've only seen the first Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And then they're, of the Avenger movies where you have the Guardians.
I've even seen the second one. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one. I'm not a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I will say, probably one thing that screams Guardians of the Galaxy here is maybe for the first one, not the second one. The second one kind of loses some of this, I feel like, but is the lighting. It kind of emphasizes the practical effects, because there's some of that happening in Guardians. It's like the last movie to not be completely CG. I could see some of that. In Guardians, the humor's not quite like it is with the rest of the Marvel stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to go back and rewatch those. It's hard to say. But I can kind of see that, I feel like, but
okay, yeah.
That definitely did not pop out to me before now.
Okay, yeah, not now, until I said that's what people are seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making it a point that's Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, and I'm like, okay, really, I got Avenger vibes at the end, but that's about it.
Yeah, and they might just be exposing themselves of recognizing like a sense of style in a movie, because there's nothing stylistic about most of the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they are very monotone and blend together, except Guardians.
Oh.
The first Iron Man, of course,
yes.
And I don't know, maybe Spider-Man, maybe.
Okay, maybe.
But definitely Guardians, and of course the first Iron Man, and the second one probably too. It kind of, I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it definitely stands out against the other Marvel movies. But yeah, I mean, of course the first Iron Man, very easily the best Marvel movie, pre-Disney. I think people, they might be exposing themselves on the point that they are just hungry for that kind of variety. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because they're like, oh, this is, you know, I think that point is a little hollow though.
Yes.
Because they don't share a lot in common, these two movies.
Yeah, I agree. But I saw it everywhere, and I was like,
I didn't see that anywhere, huh? Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't look too hard.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, I just was looking at the numbers because I was just a little like, no fucking way is this movie any good. Whole time. Yeah, I didn't look at any reviews or anything, but
yeah, a few reviews that I saw. That was one of the points. Guardians of the Galaxy is like, and I'm like, no. I don't know what they're trying to say. They just, you know, were using words like vibes or whatever.
When people say that, it gives me the point. It gives me the vibes of they mean color and maybe humor, chemistry, those kinds of things. And okay, I feel like that's all kind of low-hanging fruit that you're just kind of describing a sense of identity. You know what I mean? Guardians has its own identity. This does too. And there's not a lot of things that are on this level of fun and are self-contained that deliver on so many notes. And are smart, I should say. That one of those notes being very smart. I think Guardians is pretty smart. I think this movie's much smarter than Guardians. But I think people are kind of seeing that because, I mean, if you're going to say Guardians, you got to say the new Suicide Squad movie too. Because if there's two movies that are very similar, Guardians and Suicide Squad movie are pretty similar, except Suicide Squad's just more mature, you know?
Yeah.
Group of criminals.
Yep.
Group of criminals. You know, given a kind of a chance. I guess one's kind of more of like a space cowboy entourage running from authority. The other one's given permission by authority to complete a task, you know. So, you tell me. That's kind of happening here too, I guess, on some level.
Yeah,
they are.
I was just thinking that.
So there's maybe some of that's what they're feeling, you know, but I mean, I think there's no doubt people are hungry for variety. And I was talking to my mom yesterday about, I asked her what she thought of each Marvel movie kind of taking its own approach, you know, relative to its content, right? Whatever it is, Iron Man, Hulk, whatever. And it being like kind of embracing the material and kind of owning different genres, you know? So we have Iron Man, which is probably the first Iron Man. It's probably the most dramatic piece, and it's about how countries deal weapons, right?
Yep.
That's there is deeper than anything else that's going to happen in Marvel for the rest of its run, right? But why can't we have that throughout? Why can't we have a horror Marvel movie? Why can't we have a raunchy horror, not raunchy horror, but a raunchy Marvel movie? You know, doesn't need to be a bunch of naked people, but, you know, just something kind of risky.
Yeah.
Risque, I should say.
Yeah.
Why can't we have more hyper dramatic ones? I feel like those a chance for a lot of those. Why can't we have a coming of age one with Thor? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like there's a lot of wasted potential there that requires good writing, and you probably can't go more than 2 minutes without a joke happening in Marvel.
Oh, I know, I hate it.
And it's unfortunate, and it makes me feel bad for the fans because Marvel fans are the oldest of Marvel and DC fans are the oldest of the nerds, you know.
Yes.
They deserve to be treated a little better, and I feel like it's disrespectful treating your fans the way they do, because it just makes it from my perspective, it makes me feel like you guys think your fans are idiots. And that sucks.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I mean, there's a reason why Iron Man 1 is my favorite.
Yeah.
I like Marvel. I like majority of them, but nothing compares to Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
And the humor that's in the especially the latest Marvel movies. Can you please go 30 minutes, 5 minutes? Can you just not? It's not funny. And I like humor.
Is it even supposed to be funny at this point?
I don't even know. If it's not supposed to be funny, what's it supposed to be?
Are they just
cringe?
providing material for, Are they just providing material for memes? Is that like the end goal here? Are memes more profitable than creating a good movie?
Maybe.
And it started to infect Star Wars there, too. I mean, I'm not too familiar, like I said, with these later Star Wars films, but the trailers and stuff I've seen just feel very Marvel.
Yeah.
And they, like, I remember there's that, infamous one where the guy's like, they can fly, and then fucking 70 people all of a sudden say that he can fly back to back to back. It's just like, what? You wasted 10 seconds on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could calculate how much those 10 seconds cost to make that. I'm sure it's probably, upwards of $7,000.
Oh my god.
I would bet. Maybe more. Maybe 70,000.
That's crazy.
Are you joking me?
And you know what comes to mind hearing you say this, which may or may not be what you're trying to say, but it's that meme where all the Spider-Mans are pointing at each other. Like, you're Spider-Man, you're Spider-Man. And then when the new
Spider-Man?
the newest Spider-Man movie was coming out, everyone had this meme out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you need to do this, and I want them all to point at each other and put this in the movie. And it's like, okay, what? I love them, getting all three Spider-Mans together. I love that so much.
They pulled it off for the most part.
Yeah. But the whole internet was like, this is what we want. We want these Spider-Mans pointing at each other. If you don't put these Spider-Mans pointing at each other, I'm going to be real mad.
Yeah, it's almost hard to blame Disney for thinking that their fans are idiots. Maybe it's a me problem. And
maybe.
I don't know. They're not making as much money as they were, these Marvel movies, but they're also not as high quality. Since Disney Plus came out, basically, they're not as of high quality. And so fans, I think, are at least noticing that. And then I guess the whole where do we go after Thanos thing, like, how do you top that?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
You do it in every other standalone one where the universe is on the line, so I don't know.
Just think about it.
Yeah. I heard that there's this character called, I think, Marduk in the new Ant-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's an interesting character, at least in the comics I hear, and he's, I think, a pretty big favorite of the villains across all Marvel, period. I don't really know what he's capable of, but they give him a CG butt. He's like a big head. He's got a big face. He's like a big cylinder, basically, and he's got little arms and legs, I think. And so he's just this weird alien dude, right? And they give him, there's I guess a bit in the movie where he has his butt is exposed, and that's how they're treating their villains.
Wow. It's like watching a child's movie. It's like we're children, and they think that's the humor we laugh at.
Yeah.
Oh, butts. Ha ha ha. Nice. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We might. We're getting a little off topic here, but we might be at the dawn of the era of DC taking over. Yeah, James Gunn's gonna be at the helm, so maybe there's something to it. I don't think the video game portion's gonna work out at all. I think there's gonna be several DC hero games come out, but I don't think they're gonna end up being connected that much to the world proper, because that's just too ambitious. There are some things that are too ambitious, and connecting video games to movie worlds is too much.
Well, I mean, the new Batman didn't have the stupid humor.
No, it was pretty good.
Had some pretty good characters.
A little long, but
too fucking long. Jesus.
Yeah, I'd rather watch that at the house.
Yes.
Put subtitles on.
Yes. But you know what? Okay. All right. I can see. Yeah, I can see you a little bit here.
Yeah, we need a new Batman. Well, I mean, Robert Pattinson. Excuse me. We need a new Wonder Woman. We need new everything. Fuck it all. Just give us new everything. I guess I don't know if Robert Pattinson's gonna continue doing this. I think he's signed for the one more, and I think that's it. I think he said, but those checks are hard to turn down, probably.
Yeah.
Those $50 million checks.
Holy
it's just
crap.
like, it's just.
I'd do it. I'd sell myself.
can hardly blame him. And I'm not mad. I think he might be my favorite Batman. You know, there's only really two contenders here, him and Christian Bale. I was thinking Christopher Nolan. That's how I know the movies.
Oh, that's
He's
funny.
the director. But anyways, any final thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons?
Go watch
Honor
it.
Among Thieves. Honor Among Thieves. What do we think about that second subtext title? Honor Among Thieves. Yeah, I guess it works. It's kind of generic sounding, isn't it?
Yeah. Like a quest.
Gets the job done. Yeah. Quests' names are often kind of generic.
Yeah. The rescuing of the princess, you know, and then it's Shrek. So
Yeah.
quests are generic. Go watch it. It's fun. Especially if you like fantasy, if you like adventure, if you like quest movies, heists. You know, this movie has it all.
Movies. Smart
Monsters?
characters, monsters, creative,
Yes.
creative characters, and good practical effects.
I think it's a very well made film. It's got everything I love in a film.
That's good. What do you give it on your letterbox?
I haven't given it a grade yet. I'm leaning towards 4. That's what I
Ooh.
gave Mario. So I'm trying to decide which one I liked more. Or which one is better, I guess.
Were you surprised to like this? Were you surprised how good this was?
Yes. I was surprised how good it was. I was surprised how much I liked it. I was surprised how captivated I was the whole time. I was surprised. Big surprise. I almost feel like it being a surprise gives it a higher score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a way.
Sure. Like you said a little bit ago, you know, I came at it with my arms crossed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much how I approach all movies that are in that video game realm,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I'm waiting to be impressed, you know?
Yeah.
And in that, I am becoming more stubborn to even like them. But I immediately kind of broke down with this one.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Great film.
Yeah. I hope it gets a sequel. It's not making great money, so it hasn't been out forever, but you know, well, hopefully things work out.
Yeah.
I would like to see these guys get another shot at something along these lines.
So go watch it.
Pay for it, unlike we did.
I don't even have anything to say on that.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines. And follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmistines signing off.